Welcome back to TMNT on the NES. So...
Yes, they're finally here, performing for you. If you know the words, you can join
in too, yeah.
Put your hands together.
If you want to clap.
As we take you through this turtle rap.
Well, actually, Joe, if you're gonna do a turtle rap, you have to mimic Vanilla Ice.
I value my sanity.
All that terrible rap from the Turtles coming out of our shells tour.
Okay, I'll give Vanilla Ice credit. I do think Go Ninja Go is actually a catchy title.
Oh no!
How he came up with that on the fly.
Oh no, definitely. That song is a big guilty pleasure of mine. It's terrible, but god damn it, the second one wouldn't be the same without it. Like that moment is it's just so ridiculous and so dumb, but at the same time just so charming, and it's like I love it.
It really is. Like, okay, you know what? TMNT2 is, as a kid, I used to really like that movie and see it as like the definitive TMNT movie, but looking back at it now, I definitely do see more of the cracks.
Oh, well, okay, let me put it this way. The first movie, like the first movie from 1990, that one is definitely the best of the live action ones, definitely, because it did a great job in adapting stuff from the comics and doing again, it's not perfect by any means, but it was a very good first effort. The second movie is definitely because of all the complaints that the first movie was too violent and there was too much cursing. They toned down the violence and the swearing and to make it more accurate to the tone of the 80s cartoon, which I can understand people disliking it for, straying away from. Yeah, I can understand people disliking it for being straying away from the tone of the first movie. That being said, if you watch TMNT2 with the expectation that it's basically just a live action take on the 80s cartoon, it actually works really well because the movie's still really funny, the choreography is still really good.
Can I just say, between the original trilogy, we never got a good Shredder fight.
Oh, that's definitely...
That's the one flaw of the original movie as well.
I mean, the closest we got was, of course, when the four turtles got their asses handed to them by Shredder. I mean, it wasn't much of a fight. It was something, I guess. But yeah, in after that, of course, we had that stupid spin with Splinter and the most anticlimactic ending in the history of cinema with TMNT2 with Super Shredder.
But basically Kevin Nash Shredder just killed himself.
He got defeated by a bunch of wood falling on him.
That's one of the big great things about Shredder's Revenge, the fact that you get to fight Super Shredder as the final boss, and it's such an awesome boss fight.
You might also like the TMNT and Batman crossover as well.
Oh yeah, it's really good. The only issue I have with that movie is the characterization of Michelangelo. They make they frienderize him a bit to the point where he's just too dumb, honestly. Like, because it's one of those things where sometimes writers, when they're writing Mikey, they go overboard with his carefree attitude to the point of there's even a point in the movie where one of the characters literally calls him the dumb one, and I'm just like, no, Mikey's not dumb. Yes, he's easygoing and he's he's a bit carefree in his personality, but he's not dumb. Being carefree and being dumb are not the same thing. Whatever.
So, anyway, I love how April technically does tag along to give you tutorial tips. I love how at the end of every sentence so far she said, "You have my support."
And by that I mean I'm just going to stay here and do exactly nothing.
Yeah, well, I'll probably get kidnapped again though in my luck.
If it helps, it webs in Shredder's Revenge, she's one of the playable characters and she gets to kick ass as well. So
yeah, because
we found that very cathartic.
Because I've been because remember my first exposure to the series was the 2000
and free series, yeah.
free version. So when I heard all the memes about April being kidnapped all the time, I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
I know, because in the 2003 one, I believe she's
if she does get kidnapped from what I can remember, as you can count the number of times on like one hand.
I'm trying to remember what her thing is. Bombs are set up in the lake. Find entrance. You have my support. Also, bad grammar there, April. Find entrance. What are you, a cave woman?
Is April a robot or something? I mean, alright, save your state. Okay, pro tip, save your state here, because the water level is infamous for a reason. Alright, so.
Oh boy.
If you're going to do the... go on.
No, I was about to read that, but we already read that one. Go on.
Okay, the water level, you have to disarm all these bombs, like April said. You don't have to disarm them in any particular order, but you have to disarm all of them. And you only have like 2.5 minutes to do it. It sounds like a lot, but trust me, it's not. Especially if you don't have a map. Again, keep this in mind when you're trying to do this game. Again, I have to really put you in the perspective of when you're playing this game in 1989. Back then, there was no internet guides to help you. There was no... I mean, yeah, you could check Nintendo Power because they would have some of this stuff.
If you really wanted to find a guide, you would have to go to some of the deepest, darkest corners of the internet or forums at the time. And yes, there were forums, but they were not nearly as well organized as the forums of today.
Wait, internet forums in 1980? Well,
never mind. You were talking about the 80s.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the 2003 version, Joba April was a scientist.
Right, yeah.
She's an average fighter, but she is a brilliant scientist, Whips. Anyway.
Yes. Speaking of which, I'm looking forward to Vegeta voicing Eggman in Sonic Prime.
Yeah, sure. Wait, is Christopher Sabat voicing?
No, it's Brian Drummond.
Ocean Vegeta. Okay.
Because remember, almost everything in Sonic Prime is being done in Canada.
Sure.
I will say this. It was so cool that they got back Brian Drummond to voice that slimy fake Vegeta in Dragon Ball Super. That was apparently a favor Chris Sabat called in, and it was glorious.
Yeah, that is. Anyway, here's the thing about the water level. You only have 2.5 minutes. And here's the problem. You see those seaweeds? They're electric. And every time you touch them, you get drained massively of your health. And those seaweed right there, that thing is an instant kill. Combine that...
does not make any sense.
Not to mention, combine the fact that you have to go through these electrical things, and you're on a timer... Yeah, this level is a fucking pain. And remember,
God, you don't even move fast enough to evade that spinning thing.
Yeah, you don't really swim that fast, which again, they're fucking turtles. They should be able to swim faster than this.
Yeah, that is.
Maybe it's because they're mutants.
Dwibs. I referred to you to the TMNT 2 finale, which, for as anticlimactic as it was, it did have the cleverness of Leonardo telling them, look, guys, remember, we're turtles, and they jump into the water to save themselves, and they even say, man, I love being a turtle. So again, they're turtles, okay? Water is their natural element. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so up until this point, it seems hard, but not impossible necessarily. Just wait till I disarm this bomb. I'm trying my best to hurt myself as little as possible, but as Jova said, the swimming is not really fast enough.
This is definitely one of my frustrations with games like these, where they ask for your precision, but then have you move so slow that you have trouble. Okay, I think the idea is for you to hang in between.
Yeah, this is the most infamous section of this level.
Wow.
Okay.
Now 3 bombs are left.
Let me explain something. It may sound like I'm just fucking up, but trust me, when you're trying to control yourself and try to remain in the blue space between the seaweed, it's not as easy as it may seem, because the controls are not really precise enough for that. Not to mention, but you haven't heard the best one, Dwips. During that section, aside from that, you also have a current of water pushing you to the right. So you have to deal with both that and the seaweed. And as you can probably guess, it's a fucking pain in the ass. Basically, when I was a kid, I never could pass this level. I always died here and I just gave up. It was only recently when the Cowboy Collection came out that I finally decided, okay, I guess if I'm gonna beat this game, it's now or never. And yeah, when you're using the rewind and the map, so you can orient yourself, it's infinitely easier, but you guys have to remember yourself. When I was a little kid playing this game, I didn't have that. So playing this game as a little kid in the early 90s with nothing to help me was miserable.
So the
Okay,
game
if you were playing it,
the game came out in 1990 here in Europe, and it took you 32 years to beat.
Yes.
okay. If you're playing it in the early '90s, chances are you might have been able to get some internet for it. But again, like honestly, let's see. Combining the fact that the internet was very much in its infancy, hard to get.
Fuck!
Okay.
I hate this. I hate this level so much. It's
Do they ever make sense as to why the seaweed acts like this?
because fuck you. That's why. I just that's literally the answer from the developers. Because fuck you. That's why.
Well,
done.
okay.
Yeah, basically what I did is I altered to both Raph and Mikey so that they get all the damage. Okay, I don't think I've actually explained it. Go ahead, Joe.
Good job. The dam is safe. Let's go home. You have my support. Never mind.
Here.
Well, that ends well, right? Oh no!
Master! Alright, I'll try my best. This is Shredder. Listen to me, Turtles.
You prepared this.
We have taken Splinter to get him back. Hold on. I'm reading my teleprompter. You must defeat the Foot Clan.
Oh, so a typical Tuesday.
We're waiting for you. Ha 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 ha.
Let's go and help Splinter.
Yeah, this is gonna be a common thing in Konami's older games, by the way. Splinter gets kidnapped all the time in these Konami games from the 80s and 90s. So I guess to be...
They figured, April gets kidnapped again. I sleep. Splinter gets kidnapped. Oh god, get to action.
Okay, so for this level we have the Turtle Van. However, here's a pro tip. In order to progress through this part of the game, you're going to need missiles to use with the Turtle Van, and you need to collect those. There's a pickup in this building that gives you 10 missiles. However, don't just get that. Once you get those 10 missiles, go back into the building and have it respawn so that you can get... Because trust me, you're going to need 20. I recommend getting 20 missiles before you properly get to the Turtle Van. It will make progression a lot easier. And yeah, this section of the game is where the game starts to reveal its true colors. This is going to be the part where the game keeps throwing shit at you. Like the Fire Freak, there's whatever the hell that is.
Looks like an eyeball and legs.
Great, and a pickup, and I can't get it. Thanks, game. Like, go on, Jova.
Wait, that other eyeball, it vanished. It was going to the right, but as soon as you came onto the screen,
that's actually a good segue. Don't worry, I can talk about this later. Okay, yeah, that's such a good segue, Jova. To one of the ultimate tips for this game that people who are familiar with this game know, but even Digital Eclipse didn't put them in their tips. Take full advantage of how the game is designed to your advantage. Here's how the game works, Jova. Every time an enemy goes off screen, they just stop existing altogether.
Oh, so it's like Ghosts and Goblins of how enemies can suicide themselves by going off screen.
No, it's not even suicide. They literally disappear. Once an enemy goes off screen, it's like that enemy stops existing. So basically, if you know what you're doing, you can kind of exploit that and make the enemies just disappear without you having to actually kill them. And trust me, I'm genuine, and trust me, when we get to the final level of this game, I'm genuinely convinced that final level is impossible to do legit without that exploit. But we'll get to it.
So yeah, guys, people who set themselves on fire, for kids.
Enemy. Oh yeah. So let me get this straight, UK. People setting themselves on fire, that's A-okay for kids, but the word ninja, nah, can't have the kids learn about that word.
Well, I mean, didn't you say this was based more on the comics than the TV show?
No. But that's the thing, though. Like, the UK left in the people who set themselves on fire. Yet, again, the word ninjas? Oh, no. Too
well, Debs, do me a favor then.
Bad influence for kids. Change them to hero turtles.
Well, do me a favor then, Debs. Check what the UK cover of this game said. Did it say ninja or hero?
NES EU. Sorry, PAL box art, I should say.
Yeah. Go on. Oh, here we go. We're about to get to that infamous bit that the nerd pointed out. Jump, Donnie, thank you.
And yeah.
Alright. Whoa, where did you come from? Jesus. Yeah, you certainly see what I mean. Yeah, sometimes you'll be walking and suddenly an enemy pops out of you all of a sudden. Yeah, and like the nerd said, you don't jump, you just walk over it.
Let me guess, you try to jump, then that usually sends you hurtling down.
Yeah. And there you go, 10 missiles. However, go on, what is it?
It says Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
So yeah, even in the context of this game, Dwebs, yes, fire people, that's a-okay, but ninjas.
Although there are some covers that are, it says Palcom, hence European version, and yet it says Ninja Turtles. So
I wonder if those were later ports of the game when UK stopped being anal about that stuff by that time.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you. But I mean, after the original series, we eventually stopped the whole ninjas taboo thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was the UK still salty about those wars they've had with Japan or something? Like,
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I mean, all I know is after the original series ended, we just magically decided the word ninja was okay because it was called Ninja Turtles X Mutation around here. It was called still the 2003 series is still called that, and so on.
I almost forgot about Next Mutation, the one that gave them that fifth member.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that sets off Peter Laird every time she's mentioned.
All right, so when in the turtle van, of course, you can. It's interesting. You don't have to worry about pedestrian enemies. Like if it's just a guy walking, you can just run over and you'll hit him without any damage to you. What you have to be worried about is other vehicles. Other vehicles will damage your turtle. However, the turtle van for some reason doesn't have its own health bar. Instead, the health bar of the turtle van is whatever turtle health bar you had when you first entered the turtle van. Don't ask me how that works.
This affects the turtle's health overall.
Oh, well, actually, yeah, that's a good point. I don't think I've actually properly explained how the health system works. Okay. When one of your turtles, quote-unquote, dies, they don't actually die. They instead get captured, and they can later be saved in certain parts of the game because they're being held hostage in a specific area. However, like Jason said in his Until We Win video of this game, a good trip for you when you're playing this game is don't let your turtles die, because because saving a captured turtle means going through these various difficult places with full of enemies, which again in itself also damages the other turtles you have. So trust me, like, it's much better to instead, if a turtle of yours is almost running out of health, change to a different turtle and do your best to always heal the injured turtles whenever you find a pizza pickup. And when it comes to playing it on the Cowboy Collection, make liberal use of the rewind as well as the maps to make sure you don't go through any unnecessary sewer passages, because all that will do is just drain more health out of you. So yeah.
Is this a map or a flipping guide to the game?
It's a guide. It's called a strategy guide. So yeah, trust me, Joe. But like that strategy guide is.
I get it. It probably helps the stuff flow better.
Like playing this game has a lot in common with the first Zelda game on the NES. Although to be fair, not as much as Zelda 1.
Oh, that's sort of why I joked earlier. Hey, when are we gonna get a repacking of old Zelda games that have this feature?
Or even better.
I guess technically, Link to the Past wouldn't need that since it came with a good map. Well,
that's the thing. That's what I've always said. Like when I heard that the new Zelda this is the first time ever you're remaking a Zelda game from the ground up, and you picked A Link to the Past. Don't get me wrong, I love A Link to the Past, but the one game that desperately needs it is Zelda 1.
Wait. When did they ever announce a remake for Link to the Past?
Sorry, not Link. Sorry. You're right. Never mind. Link's
You're
Awakening.
thinking of Link's
Yeah,
Awakening.
you're right. You're right. Never mind. Ignore me. You're right. Well, okay. I guess technically you can consider the GBA version kind of one, but whatever. The point is, well, I guess I'm personally okay with the way the Link to the Past is because, like you said, it has a map screen that you can use.
Oh, I totally get it. I just expect that maybe if we ever get a repackaging, at the very least, they'll overhaul some things from the first.
Yeah. Did you notice? Did you notice just now the vehicle? I allowed the vehicle to go off screen so they would disappear and I wouldn't run into it. Trust me, this trick becomes a lifesaver when you're trying to complete this game.
That other one.
Yeah, this vehicle. As you're about to see, this vehicle fucking chases me. Check this out. I'm going to put myself here, and it just goes straight in. This vehicle is literally out to get me.
I guess that they belong to the Foot Clan. That's the idea.
Jesus Christ! Then how the hell am I supposed to avoid it then?
Shoot it.
Well, I guess, but I need to save my missiles so I can blow up the, like whenever I get stuck. Because the way you need the missiles is to open up your path so you can progress. So it's not a good idea. So I'm trying my best to preserve my missiles.
This makes me wonder, if you run out of missiles, do you have to go all the way back?
Yes, Jova. Jova meets the NES era.
Yeah, I've gotten a taste of the NES era, but damn, okay, what's weird? This is more like a survival horror element when you think down to it, having to conserve on that stuff here and there. In a TMNT game of all things.
Mm-hmm. It's like I said, it's not even a matter of quote-unquote challenge. It's more so the fact that the game is genuinely poorly designed in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, okay, when we're first starting the game, it doesn't seem bad, but yeah, no, you're right. When we reach a certain point...
Yeah. Oh, this
is definitely flowing better thanks to this version of the game.
Oh, trust me, it actually gets worse when we get to the final level. The final level is literally impossible, in my opinion, at least impossible, unless you make liberal use of the off-screen exploit.
That's ought to be interesting.
Because, oh my god, it's so... But anyway, we'll get to it. This is Wall Street, by the way. I wasn't aware that Wall Street was a place full of tanks.
I thought that Wall Street was where a lot of stocks were exchanged and whatnot. Silly me.
Party wagon dudes. Yeah.
So where's Leonardo DiCaprio?
I love how on the corner of the page it says Eclipse Tips. Okay. Basically, right now I'm checking the map just to make sure I know, because remember, again, just like earlier, there's a lot of passages that lead to nowhere and are just a waste of your time. So I'm making sure that I'm going into the right path to make sure I don't get lost. Because trust me, trust me, it can become very painful to try to do this without a map. Go on.
So what you're telling me is that for some odd reason, the Shredder sent a bunch of tanks down New York City's financial district.
Yes.
For some reason.
Because the Shredder has nothing better to do on a Friday afternoon?
He's just trying to make extra money to take care of Will.
Well, considering Karai can handle herself, sure, I understand. Anyway, let's move on. Alright, another side-scrolling section. Let's see. Climb, Donnie. Thank you. Okay. Alright, this doesn't seem too bad. No enemies. It's just Oh, shit! And yeah, trust me, the reason the reason I get those guys is because I knew beforehand that they were going to show up. So, go on.
It's interesting looking at this background here, remember when colorists would make it so that all four of their bandanas were red?
That's actually how they were in the original comic. When Kevin Eastman
yeah. They color-coded them in the show to, diversify them more.
Which Kevin Eastman himself said that, that was definitely something that we probably should have thought of on our own.
It's interesting that he didn't make the red bandana the leader one, though, since, red was the color that they all showed.
The 80s cartoon was the one that introduced the idea of Leo being the leader. Because from what I understand, in the original comic, they didn't. No one turtle was the leader necessarily. They were just kind of a group, and that's it. It was the 80s show that introduced the idea of Leo being the leader, since they wanted to give them more distinct attributes. Because in the original 80s comic before the cartoon, all four turtles, from what I understand, didn't really have much in terms of different personality traits. They were mostly just all kind of the same. So the whole thing of Mikey being the party dude and Raphael being the tough one and all that shit, that came mostly from the 80s cartoon and the movies. Go on.
And then there's Rise, which definitely started out different from the norm.
I enjoyed the Rise movie, but I get the feeling I would have enjoyed it more if I had seen the show first, because there's a lot of stuff that movie doesn't really explain. From what
I've heard, you can watch the Rise movie without watching the Rise series, but you'll definitely have the best time if you've seen the Rise series.
Well, from what I understand, all I remember is that about the Rise series is that when it started, people were thinking, "Oh God, it's Teen Titans Go all over again."
One thing that I find interesting.
To be fair, from what I recall, impressions of that show weren't the best, and to be fair, the showrunners kind of have themselves to blame for it. It is a show that, in Star Trek terms, Dwibs, had to grow the beard.
One thing that I find interesting about the Rise show is how they applied the Sonic Boom philosophy of character design, where since Raphael is the tough one, he's the bigger and buffer one, like Knuckles is in Boom.
Yeah. It's funny how in Rise, Raphael actually starts off as the leader. Here's the thing, Rise is a show that felt like it was going out of its way to pretty much go against all expectations of what you expect from a turtle show.
It barely started, barely long after the 2012 one ended.
And again, given how the 2012 one had kind of a messy ending due to executive meddling, the next series was definitely going to be under scrutiny. And okay, I'll say this. I have not seen the Rise series. That said, I have seen glimpses at it. From what I can gather, it is definitely a show that did earn its standing, but it was definitely an uphill battle, especially given how they started the show, where, it definitely seemed very Teen Titans Go-esque, but apparently there is a point and purpose to that. And trust me, that's saying something given how Splinter is at the start. Even I did a double take at how Splinter was starting off in the
shit! A giant...
Oh, God.
Yeah, you started to see what I mean? Look at that. A giant frog pops up out of nowhere.
Oh, God, it's the Battletoads! Look out!
No, guys, don't you see? It's one of the turtles from the Coming Out of Our Shells tour. I mean, they look like frogs, don't they?
Oh, are you... I didn't know you were a fan of Coming Out of Their Shells tour, Dwibs.
I watched it with Pedro a while ago.
You can count on... It's terrible. What do you think?
One thing. That is one thing I didn't hear anyone really say anything overall positive about.
When the best and funniest part of the whole thing was basically Shredder mocking children, something's gone wrong.
Hey, Debs, you know what we need to watch this December? Turtle Christmas.
Oh, no.
But yeah, no, I'm serious. Like the Coming Out of Their Shells tour thing, that is the one thing TMNT that I've never heard anyone say a positive thing about. I've heard more people defend Next Mutation than I've heard anyone defend.
Yeah, allow me to say something about that. The thing, all you young people in the audience who might not be as knowledgeable about this, you have to understand that back in the late 80s, the Turtles were at the peak of their popularity, and I mean late 90s Pokemon level of big. The Turtles were such a big deal in the late 80s that they got the rock band, the cartoon, the comics, all the toys, movies, all that shit. It was literally just on the same level as Pokemon was in the late 90s. That big of a phenomenon.
Terrible tasting cereal.
Yes, of course, Jova. Jova, I'm not kidding you. They literally put the Turtles' faces on everything. Think of anything that can be sold to kids, Jova, and they put the Turtles on it at some point. I can assure you. It was literally, again, it was TMNT for the late 80s, Pokemon for the late 90s.
Shrek for the early 2000s.
What would be the late 2000s equivalent?
Avatar.
The Last Airbender series, you mean?
I guess.
Avatar.
No,
I mean-
okay, Dwibs, here's the thing about Avatar. Yes, it made the monies, but I don't recall merchandise.
No, that's true. Like, don't get me wrong, Avatar was really popular, but it wasn't late 90s Pokemon level of popular.
Nah, like, I mean, like, and that's the thing, I think, like, very much, okay, its hype lasted for maybe a year, maybe two if we're being generous. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, outside of its release period, it kind of died down. Now, granted, there is apparently a chance that the sequel might...
I'm sorry, I need to mention this. I can literally get stuck, because now I have to go back, but as you can see, I had to waste a missile to save myself on that thing, because because every time I tried to get away with that thing would constantly respawn. So the game has plenty of instances like this, where the game literally forces you to take a hit, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like
There's probably some ultra-specific tech guide on how to avoid it, but nah, this game feels like it can be sadistic at times.
Yeah, trust me. I don't even consider the rewind a cheat. This is a quality of life improvement as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few bits and pieces of the AT show, and I can clearly recall in one of those clips the bits where the turtles are just randomly going back and forth on the road shooting things with their limited quantity of missiles.
Well, Dwibs, apparently...
The lost episode.
Well, Dwibs, apparently this is more akin to the comics than the show, so maybe if you look at the comics there was, I don't know.
And it's like, and I distinctly remember this is what happened in the 2003 version as well. The turtles had to go back and forth on like one tiny little bit of New York because it was really narrow, and as we all know, New York is famous for really, really narrow roads, like as if you're on like a mountain edge or something.
Granted, New York City does have its fair share of narrow alleyways, but...
Is Wall Street known for narrow hallways?
Not really. Like I mentioned, Wall Street's the financial district.
So, this is
narrow-minded.
This is Wall Street Web, so yeah. All right, yeah. This is it. I need the missiles to do this, which is why I got myself 20 missiles beforehand, and this is why I'm trying not to waste missiles on the tanks because I need the missiles to open the paths.
I'll admit, I'm surprised that the Cowabunga collection didn't come with like a code for unlimited tank ammo at least.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I actually do think, that's a weird omission because in most of the other games on this collection have cheats for infinite health and infinite lives and shit like that. This one, however, doesn't, which is weird. I guess
they really wanted to retain, I guess, part of the TMNT experience.
I mean,
which is why you have a rewind function.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The rewind plus the strategy guide definitely helps make this game playable. Not good, but playable. But yeah, it is weird that this one won't get more elaborate cheats. But I mean, it's not that big a deal.
Okay, if it were me, if I could only add one, I would have thought that they would have at least tinkered it so that you can have a shot where, okay, you have to get the ammo once for the tank, but that's the only time you need to go for it, because, it does feel a bit ass backwards having to call all the way back in case you run out of missiles.
Backtracking, backtracking was a huge thing in this era of games. Like, a lot of games had this problem.
Yeah, but I think it's specifically with this type, not to mention the fact that the enemies that you can kill with the missiles are constantly respawning, so... Yeah.
That's why I'm trying my best not to waste missiles, because I already know that I might... let me see. There you go. Unfortunately, thanks to that off-screen exploit, I was able to make that tank disappear. Alright, and we've done it. We've managed to get to a part of the area where we wanted to, so we should be able to save Splinter in the next part. Jesus Christ.
What a nice stroll down Wall Street that was.
See why I told you to get 20 missiles beforehand? As you can see, I wasted 15 missiles just to get here. Alright, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was Wall Street as interpreted by Konami's developers.
Yeah. I know. I'm really appreciating Teenage Missile Ninja Turtles. I think I've been firing more of those than anything else.
Indeed. All right, everybody. In the next part, we save Splinter. See you then.
See ya.
See ya.